Shahji Bhonsle, a significant figure of 17th century Deccan India, laid the groundwork for the Maratha rise by leveraging his skills as warrior, administrator, and diplomat. His role is often overshadowed by his son Chhatrapati Shivaji, whose leadership, statecraft, and enduring symbolism as the founder of the Maratha Empire dominate Indian history. Nevertheless, Shahji's contributions should be seen as indispensable as stepping stones that made Shivaji's success possible. Their legacies together represent two critical phases of the Maratha development: preparation and realization. And Shahji's role in preparation is unique and unforgettable. However, this underrated leader is also doubted for his role in spreading Islam in southern India, particularly in Karnataka, as Bijapur Sultanate's commander during the Karnataka and South India campaigns. Let us devote some time to understand his complex role in Deccan during the mid 17th century, a dynamic period of debauchery and skepticism. The Maratha, originally a warrior agrarian community from the northern western Deccan plateau, lacked centralized authority unlike the Rajputs. Over time, however, they become significant military players, especially in the Bahmani Sultanate and its successor, including Bijapur and Ahmednagar. As the Nizamshahi dynasty fell and Mughal Empire expanded in Deccan, opportunity arose for ambitious Maratha like Shahji to rise in social and military rank. Shahji's father Maloji, facing hardship in their ancestral land near Pune, moved with his brothers to Verul near Ellora to seek better opportunity, where they joined the Nizamshahi military as a common soldiers. In 1594, Maloji's wife Deepabai gave birth to a son whom they named Shahji as a token of gratitude for their local peer Shah Sharif's alleged blessing. This event was a significant turning point in the family history. Their fortunes also changed when they found treasure in their land or through banditry that helped them to buy horses and upgrade their level in the military. This newfound prominence also helped Maloji to secure the marriage of his son Shahji to Jizabai, the daughter of prominent Maratha chief and Deshmukh of Sindhkher, Jadhav Rao, probably a descendant of Raja of Devgarh, who earlier refused due to their non-status. This also allowed them to rise in the ranks of Maratha military leadership, which was a reflection of the broader social and political upheaval of the time. During this period, the Mughal Emperor Akbar sought to undermine the Deccan Sultanates, which were in turmoil due to internal conflicts, especially the Nizamshahi of Ahmednagar, which was weakened by the factional infighting leading to their eventual subjugation of Ahmednagar by the Mughals by the time Akbar died in 1605. But despite losing territory, the Nizam Shahi regime, under the leadership of the new Abyssinian uncommon genius slave Wazir Malik Ambar, the new puppet Sultan Murtaza Nizam Shah too shifted to impregnable Daulatabad fort and continued to resist Mughal advances, engaging in a series of wars with the Mughals as well as with the Bijapur. Shahji distinguished himself as a military leader during this period, especially in the 1620 battle near Ahmednagar. Malik's Amber death in 1626 was followed in grave by Ismail Adil Shah of Bijapur and Mughal Emperor Jahangir in 1627. Confusion in the Deccan led to further instability both in Sultanate and the Mughals' possessions. Thus, after firming up himself on the throne in a few months of succession, Shah Jahan turned toward the Deccan to restore Mughal authority and finish the traitor in the Mughal camp, who, in connivance with the Nizamshahi nobles, transferred back some areas. Meanwhile, in 1630, Fateh Khan, the bloodthirsty son of Ambar who succeeded him, was thrown into prison by Nizam Shah II, who attained manhood and allied with other Abyssinian groups. He also got murdered treacherously, Shahji's father-in-law Jadhav Rao and some of his family for planning to shift to Mughal. Other members of the family fled to the Mughal camp where they were made mansabdars. Shahji was then stationed near Parenda and hastened to Pune, plundering on the way. He also petitioned the Mughal emperor and moved to the camp with the 2000 cavalry. But later, disjointed with the Mughal, Shahji moved to Pune, creating great disturbances and taking possession of some countryside both of Nizam Shahi and the Bijapur Sultanates. The Wazir of Bijapur, keeping a close watch on the unstable Nizamshahi region, dispatched troops to control Shahji. Shahji, threatened from all sides, took refuge with the Srinivas Rao, Sarnayak of Junnar Fort. Further, he made a fort for himself at Sahagar on the site of Bhimgarh and moved with the 5,000 cavalry and started plundering and conquering the country in the neighborhood. Shahji played a key role in this turbulent period, first serving the Mughals and then shifting alliances to the changing political circumstances which contributed to his rise in power and influence. Under Mughal threat, Sultan Nizamshahi II released Fateh Khan from prison and restored his wazirship. But by February 1632, he died, probably poisoned by Fateh Khan, who put another puppet sultan on the throne, which was opposed by the other provincial governors. Sensing opportunity, Shahji seized the district of Nasik, Trimbak, Sangamner, Junar, and parts of northern Deccan. Thus abandoned by others, Fateh Khan seeks Mughal protection, which Shah Jahan agreed. At this juncture, Shahji turned towards Bijapur, requesting help to wrest Daulatabad fort. Accordingly, Bijapur dispatched a force along with Shahji, but soon Fateh Khan repented his offer to Mughal and hurriedly made arrangement with Bijapur, who sent a separate troops with the money and provisions for Daulatabad fort to fight against Mughals. The allies ambushed the Mughals near Khirki and fighting broke out for 5 months around Daulatabad, in which Shahji also participated. Unfortunately, differences crop up in the Bijapur contingents over leadership and nothing much was achieved. Ultimately, under pressure in June 1633, Fateh Khan surrendered the impregnable fort of Daulatabad to the Mughals with all treasures and war materials, ending the Nizamshahi of Ahmednagar forever. The local countryside officers of dismembered Nizamshahi were now of their own. Sensing opportunity, Shahji immediately retreated from Daulatabad and moved to Bhimgarh to plunder and seize all the Nizamshahi domains of Pune, Chakkan, Balaghat, Junar, Sangamer, Trimbak, Ahmednagar, and Nasik with 7 to 8,000 cavalry. The Mughals tried to lure him with high-level mansab through his relation in Mughal camps, but he was the cleverest and most far-sighted of all. He was also intrigued by Bijapur's strong and powerful Wazir Khwas Khan. Accordingly, Bijapur sent a large army to assist him. Shahji captured Jivdan, where a minor Nizam Shahi prince Murtaza was kept as a prisoner. He brought him to Sagar and crowned him as Sultan of Nizam Shahi in September 1633 and started acting as regent. He also confronted with other Nizam Shahi nobles, captured Fort Junar and shifted his base there. Mughal now found a new enemy in Shahji in addition to Adil Shah of Bijapur. In February 1636, Shahjahan again arrived with large troops at Daulatabad to overcome Golconda, crush Shahji and invade Bijapur if necessary. Finally, the major chunk of area captured by Shahji was recovered, and under pressure from Mughal, Shahji joined the Bijapur court for new course of life as a noble in the changed scenario, handing over the puppet king to the Mughal. Bijapur also made peace with the Mughal emperor, and one of the most important part of the treaty was to shift Shahji away from Deccan. Accordingly, he was sent to Karnataka as number two to conquer and subjugate South India, particularly Karnataka, which after the truce with Mughal in the northern boundary was the only area for expansion and plunder for Bijapur and Golconda. During the troubled time in 1630, despite resentment from Jijabai, who had two sons with him, Sambhaji and Shivaji, Shahji married Tukabai from the Mohite family, from which he had a third son, Venkaji. He also had an illegitimate son, Suntaji, from a dancing girl. After the second marriage, Jijabai, along with the younger son Shivaji, shifted to their Jagir, headquartered at Pune, under the guardianship of their revenue officer Dadaji Konadev. And Sambhaji, the beloved elder son, moved with the Shahji, helping him in administration, particularly in Karnataka. In the 17th century, the Muslim conquest of the Trans-Krishna Deccan followed a similar strategy to the 12th century foreign invasion of northern India. Muslim invaders launched annual raids from settled Muslim territories, attacking Hindu states with the assistance of neighboring Hindu rulers. After plundering and securing tribute, they returned to their captors before the monsoon. Each year, the raid pushed further into Hindu territories, and any resistance rulers were crushed or forced to pay tribute. Over time, the map of Deccan was gradually dominated by Muslim forces. In contrast, the Hindu state lacked a unified defense as the imperial power of the Vijayanagar dynasty had collapsed, leaving local chiefs to fight among themselves for personal gain. Meanwhile, the Muslim forces operated under a centralized authority of Bijapur or Golconda, allowing for coordinated reinforced military campaigns that steadily reduced Hindu kingdom to vassalage or destroyed them. By 1648, the Sultan of Bijapur had conquered much of Mysore Plateau and the rich eastern Karnataka region, still under the nominal control of Vijayanagar Empire. Further, with the difficulty, they captured the impregnable fort of Jinji, followed by the subjugation of rich Raja of Tanjore and Nayak of Madurai. During most of the major campaigns, acting as the important general of the Muslim army, Shahji participated in wars or in negotiation in subjugating the Hindu Rajas and assimilating their territories in the Adil Shahi or sometimes Golconda Muslim kingdoms. But as Hindu general, he had limited authority. However, once he was made the Viceroy of Karnataka and based in Bangalore, he tried to infuse Hindu culture in administration. A lot of Marathas were brought into the administration of the areas, and when Marathis were made official language, his good governance created surplus revenue which he had regularly sent to Adil Shah, which has helped Bijapur to further fund and raid territories in south. But soon he had made enemies with the several Muslim generals who were jealous of him and they started to fit Sultan Adil Shahi against him. Meanwhile, Shivaji, the younger son of Shahji, quickly rose to prominence in northern Deccan landscape, surpassing his father's achievement with his visionary leadership. From a very young age, he defied advice to focus on his father Jagir in Pune, and instead he began establishing himself as an independent leader. At just 16, he started raiding neighboring areas and became well acquainted with the terrain. In 1646, he captured his first fort, Torena, near Pune, and during its repair discovered buried gold, with which he built the formidable Rajgarh fort. As Shivaji noted cities gained attention, the Sultan of Bijapur questioned his father Shahji, but he denied involvement. But despite his father's admonishment, Shivaji continued his raids, capturing significant forts like Chakkan and Purandar, which ultimately revealed his growing ambitions. In Bangalore, Shahji's influence continued to grow, attracting the attention of Bijapur Sultan, who got him arrested and brought him in the confinement to Bijapur, also to get his help in suppressing Shivaji. Sensing danger to the life of his father, Shivaji sought refuge under Mughal protection for Shah Jahan's intervention, and ultimately Bijapur Sultan pardoned the life of Shahji. After a few years of inactivity in Bijapur, Shahji was able to convince Sultan to return to Bangalore. Later, he moved to Kankagiri to quell a revolt where his son Sambhaji was killed in 1654. Shahji himself died in 1660. Shivaji, who was managing Shahji's Jagir in Pune, now began acting independently, capturing territories from Bijapur vassals. In the upcoming video, we will witness Shivaji's transformation from Raja to Maharaja and will see how successfully he challenged and weakened the powerful Mughal to the point of irreparability.